If you're thinking about buying a home in the next 6 months and you have your eye on Granbury, this might be the most important video you'll ever watch. Today, we're going to do the Price Drop Diaries, stories behind Granbury's biggest discounts. So we're going to jump into that today, and be sure you stick around to the end. We're going to give some key tips on how to save money and help you get some lower cost. So make sure you stick around for that. The story of the day is going to be Price Drop Diaries. There's an interesting market that's developed here in Granbury, really around the Metroplex in general, but especially here in Granbury. And it is causing an opportunity for folks who've been on the sidelines, maybe thinking about buying. We're seeing some deep discounts happening all across Granbury, especially out in Pecan Plantation. And we want to share with you what's going on, why is it happening, and what the opportunity is for you. If this is your first time to the channel, we really appreciate you tuning in to today's episode. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You know, we have folks that send us emails or text messages, and sometimes they're 6, 12, even 18 months out. We really appreciate, any inquiries and opportunities to help answer any questions you may have. And we'd love to come in and assist you with that. All right, so we're going to jump in. What's the situation? Well, a few things. The nature of what's going on right now in Granbury is there's been a lot of new construction that's been built, and there's been a lower volume of sales than anticipated. And so what's happened is that the listing inventory has continued to build. When I did a search in Pecan Plantation, for example, there were I believe 110 homes for sale in Pecan Plantation. That's a lot of homes for sale. You would want to see that number, I'd say, closer to 75. And the reason why it's getting that high is mainly because of the lower volume of sales. So it's not that we're getting a lot of extra new listings, it's that we're not seeing many sales. And therefore we're seeing some softening of the prices. We're seeing new construction that have kind of built out, and now they're hitting a point where there's a lot of them left, and they're taking longer to sell than originally anticipated. So that's a part of what's going on in the market. A secondary thing that's going on in the market is there's been a lot of interesting twists and turns in the economy. We had the tariff war that kind of broke out. That ended up pushing interest rates lower. And then we've had basically that kind of resolve itself, and we've had interest rates going back really to some of the highs that we saw over the last 2 years. And every time we think that the interest rates are about to kind of stick at a slightly lower point, something happens and pushes them back up. And so we're back to 7% interest rates, and we do not see any movement on that for the next 6 months. Now, for a buyer, you may think, well, that's not good news. Well, for a lot of people that are kind of on the sidelines, that want to sell and maybe they're not, they don't want to move with these interest rates. So there's creating some tension where people that would move are not moving, and they're staying where they're at. But we're also seeing that a lot of people have just opted to not do anything right now. And because of that, we have a lower volume of sales. What we want to be at from a national standpoint is we want to be around 5 million sales. If we're at 5 to 5.5 million home sales per year, then the market can kind of balance and become healthy again. We're sitting around 4 million, which means we're about 1 million short. If we're 1 million short, that means at the end of the year, if we have a normal listing ratio, there's going to be 1 million homes, extra homes, that did not sell because there weren't enough transactions to account for them. That's where we're at. So inventory is building because in a healthy market, there would be 100 home sales, for example, and we're only getting 70. And so there's 30 homes that didn't sell. Well, those 30 then build, and then the 30 gets added, and we have an extra 60. And then that begins to push the prices down. And that's where we're at. So there's 3 addresses that I want to show you just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I am going to share my screen with you. All right, so first one is 6100 North Waverly Court. It is in Pecan Plantation. So if we zoom out, you can see kind of where it's at. near the back gate of Pecan. And if we do a little bit of digging, we can go pull up the MLS. We can see that the home has been on the market for 203 days. And we can see that it started out at 465 and it's down to 415. Chances are this property is going to sell closer to 400. And with that, you've got a property that's going to be closer to 160 a foot. So this, you can see, like, this would not have happened even a year ago. You know, even first quarter this year, we were seeing a little bit more activity than we are at the moment from a seasonal standpoint. So that there's things are not moving the way we would normally expect at this time of year. Don't get me wrong. There are continuing to be sales of properties. I've got a few that are under contract now and that are going to sell in Pecan and even in town, where I'm going to show you some other properties as well. But this is a example of a property that's been on the market for a little while and has had difficulty selling. Some people think, well, is there something wrong with the home? Not really. Not really. It's just it's a product of the market where there's not a high volume of sales. It's taking longer for properties to sell. Some of them are not selling. And so these sellers are having to compete with one another to get the limited pool of buyers that's out there. So we saw an interesting statistic that the average age of a home buyer over the last 12 months is 61 years old. If you go back to 2018, the average age was 46. So average age went from 46 to 61. There's a trend. And so the people that are buying are cash heavy, selling properties they've been in for a long time and using that cash proceeds on the next transaction. We're seeing a lot of that, which means there's a lot of buyers that are, maybe 30 to 40 years old that are not in the market purchasing right now because of the high interest rates, the high prices, the high insurance, and high taxes. Combination is making it unattainable for them. And so they're waiting to see how things kind of shake out over the next, 6-12 months. All right, we got two more properties that I want to show you. Two more. We're looking at 1089 Mickelson. This one's been on the market for 400 days. It started at 520. It is down to 450. 400 days. It's a home built in 2022, and they've come down $70,000 so far, and it's still available. What's going on? Well, it's another one of those situations. There's new construction being put in Josiah Estates, Harbor Lakes, and around the area. Builders are in here building, and these existing homes are having to compete with those builders in order to sell. And there's not a big surplus of buyers. There's a limited number of buyers that are transacting right now. And in order to get those limited number of buyers to buy your home, an incredible amount of incentives are having to be thrown at these buyers. So with that, there is a tremendous opportunity if you are a buyer to come in and be you'll be treated like royalty if you're a serious, ready, willing, able buyer to come in and purchase right now. So great opportunity with properties like this. This is more of a retirement community. It's not like a requirement age range, but it does tend to be more of that group looking to move into the center city. So the third and final address that we want to jump into is 6318 Blackfoot. This is located in De Cordova. This is a very interesting property. It is located right across the street from main body lake access. And there's a few features on it. But first thing I want to notice is that it has been on the market for 257 days, and that the price started at $1.1 million, and they're down to $895,000. So that is over $200,000 price drop. And I think this is a great value property because it has a few unique features that are really cool, great location. So let me show you what I mean. If we go in and look at this 5,000 square foot home, $168 a foot, you will notice that there's nothing structurally wrong with it. It does have some unique finishes, features, and upgrades. But I also want you to note one cool feature is that it has a boat slip. You heard that right. It has a boat slip. that comes with this particular home, and it is in the common area that kind of a shared boat slip here. So this common area is used, and this boat slip comes with the property. You have a nice access to the lake, and you live right across the street from it. So it's a pretty cool setup, to be honest. So again, if you're a homeowner and you're looking at this price range, chances are you're looking for waterfront access, either being on the canal like directly, and your home's value is then reflected in that. If this home was actually on the water, we're talking about a whole different price point, completely different price point. So this one coming with that boat slip and being that close is kind of has a unique value proposition that it's offering to buyers that are looking. That being said, you're not going to appeal to most buyers, but you will get interest from some. So this is a cool property. They've come down a tremendous amount of money, and still probably going to come down some more. But this is a neat property. If someone was looking for something like this, I'd say it's an opportunity, because a year ago, this property would have sold a little quicker. And if rates come down and the market kind of stabilizes, it will probably sell in as well. It's just an interesting opportunity now because there's just such a low volume of sales happening. All right, so I mentioned to you, stick around to the end, because there's a few ways that you can come in and save some money. One, when you go talk to a lender, if you are going through a bank, I highly recommend actually talking to Wholesale rather than retail lenders. And the reason for that is they can help negotiate a lower rate and some lower costs for you. We have one that we partner with here in town. I can send you their information. I'd love to connect you with that lender. We think that having a good, knowledgeable local lender is key, and having someone that does wholesale is also important, where you can help get the better deal, get the better rates, and not have to spend too much on fees. Lastly, I love Granbury. I live in Granbury. Matter of fact, I live in Pecan. I try to help people that are looking to retire find good opportunities and options. And Granbury is not the only option in the state of Texas. It's not even the only option around here. There are other areas that are also nice, and that's one of the reasons why we named the channel Living in Granbury and Beyond, is because there's a few communities right around Granbury that we also serve, and we want to highlight those in case maybe Granbury is not exactly what you're looking for, but we have an area that's close by. We do try to stay within that little radius and proximity. We try not to get out too far. There is a city right now where you can get a pretty good deal on some properties. I would say more than Granbury, more than really any place that I know of at the moment, is Cleburne, Texas. I've done some videos of Cleburne, and I've highlighted some pros and cons. And right now there's just a really cool opportunity that's developing there, because there's a lot of homes for sale. There's this low volume of sales happening everywhere, and Cleburne especially, we're seeing the prices really be more affordable than we are in other areas. So you've got some really nice opportunities there that we would recommend maybe taking a look at, especially if the budget's kind of hurting a little bit looking in Granbury. We might be able to find something there that might be similar quality, similar style, but a little cheaper on the price. And that wasn't the case 2 years ago. It's opportunities developed there as well, and someone might be able to capitalize on a nice price on a nice home. So that's one area, trying to save some money, and an area to check out. All right, so with that, I think we have covered the price drop diary, stories behind some of Granbury's biggest discounts. There's a ton of others that I could have done. I just picked 3 and kind of hit some different price points in different areas. There's a ton of others, and we actually have a few more videos that are on the docket that we want to work on. Some of these are going to be out in the field. Today was just going to be an office video where we were kind of look at what's going on. We know that some people have been kind of waiting and looking for an opportunity. So, price drop diaries, stories behind Granbury's biggest discounts. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Living in Granbury. If you have any questions, again, reach out to me, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to help or answer any questions you may have. All right, until next time, hope to see you around Granbury.